In the heart of the Appalachian Mountains lay a small, secluded town named Willow Creek. Nestled between towering pines and rocky cliffs, this charming place had a secret: moonshine flowed like water. The townsfolk, with their sturdy homes and welcoming smiles, had long embraced the art of brewing their own spirits in the shadows of the law. During the Prohibition era, when alcohol was banned across the country, Willow Creek thrived on its hidden stills, where families crafted their special recipes passed down through generations. The air was thick with the sweet scent of corn mash and the earthy aroma of aging barrels. Each evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a soft glow from clandestine stills lit up the hills, hinting at the bustling life behind the facade of quietude. The sound of laughter and clinking glasses echoed in hidden corners, where neighbors gathered to share stories and sip their homemade brews. Life in Willow Creek was simple yet vibrant, fueled by the spirit of togetherness and rebellion against a distant government that sought to control their way of life. Little did they know that soon, their peaceful existence would be shaken by events beyond their control. Among the townspeople of Willow Creek, two figures stood out: the Moonshine Friar and a mysterious outlaw. The Moonshine Friar, Father Thomas, was known for his warm smile and kind heart. With a well-worn Bible in hand, he wandered the town not only as a priest but also as a master moonshiner. He blended his faith with the art of brewing, believing that sharing spirits brought people together. Beneath his robe, he concealed secret jars of shining liquid, each batch crafted with love and tradition. On the other hand, the outlaw was a man shrouded in shadows. Named Jack, he had become desperate after fleeing a life of crime that had spiraled out of control. A robbery had gone awry, leaving him wounded and alone, with nowhere to turn. As fate would have it, he stumbled upon the friar's hidden still while seeking refuge from pursuing lawmen. Though their backgrounds were worlds apart, both men found themselves at a crossroads, one seeking redemption through faith, the other yearning for forgiveness amid chaos. In Willow Creek, destiny was about to intertwine their lives in ways they could never have imagined. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows through the dense woods of the mountain as Jack stumbled through the underbrush. Each sharp breath caused pain to shoot through his side, a reminder of the bullet that had found its mark during the chaotic robbery. Desperate and disoriented, his mind raced with thoughts of escape from the lawmen hot on his trail. Suddenly, he caught sight of a faint glow flickering through the trees, an inviting light in the thickening twilight. With every ounce of strength, Jack pushed forward, finally breaking into a small clearing where the Moonshine Friar's hidden still was nestled among the trees. The air smelled sweetly of fermenting ingredients, a scent so familiar yet foreign to him in this moment of fear. Before he could even think about what he was doing, he stumbled into the clearing, collapsing at the friar's feet. Father Thomas looked down in shock but quickly moved into action. Seeing the outlaw's blood-soaked shirt and pale face, he felt compassion swell within him. "You need help," he said firmly, guiding Jack away from danger. As they hurried to the safety of the still, both men sensed that this meeting would change everything. As Father Thomas helped Jack into the dimly lit space of the still, a wave of uncertainty washed over him. The gravity of the situation pressed heavily on his heart. He had always believed in helping those in need, but now he faced a troubling moral dilemma. This was not just any man, Jack was an outlaw, a fugitive from justice. What if the revenuers discovered him here? The consequences could be dire, not just for himself but for the entire community that relied on the friar's goodwill. Father Thomas quickly assessed Jack's wound, applying pressure to stop the bleeding. Yet, amidst his instinct to care for this injured soul, fear gnawed at him. Would harboring a criminal lead to the downfall of Willow Creek? The thought of his congregation suffering because of his choice weighed heavily on his conscience. But as he looked into Jack's pained eyes, he saw not just a criminal but a desperate man seeking redemption. In that moment, Father Thomas made his decision. He would help Jack heal, believing that everyone deserved a second chance, even an outlaw. With resolve in his heart, he whispered a silent prayer for guidance, ready to face whatever consequences may come. As Father Thomas tended to Jack's wounds, a sense of urgency filled the air. Unbeknownst to them, a team of revenuers had arrived in Willow Creek, intent on shutting down the moonshine operations that fueled the town. Their lead agent, a stern man named Agent Collins, was known for his relentless pursuit of illegal distillers. With his eyes set on capturing anyone involved in the moonshine trade and finding the fugitive, he wasted no time gathering his team. The revenuers began their investigation by questioning townsfolk, who nervously shifted their weight and exchanged wary glances. They knew that speaking up could lead to harsh repercussions, but fear of the law pushed some to cooperate. As they prowled through the streets, the sound of hammering echoed as they bricked up doors of suspected moonshiners' homes, leaving a trail of anxiety in their wake. Back at the Friars' still, time was running out. Father Thomas felt the weight of every creak in the floorboards, knowing that if the revenuers discovered Jack's presence, it would mean disaster for both him and the town. Determined to protect his new friend, he devised a plan to keep Jack hidden while praying for an end to the revenuers' relentless search. The atmosphere in the Friars' hidden still was thick with tension. Father Thomas knew that keeping Jack safe was only half the battle, he also had to maintain the moonshine operation to support the local community. As whispers of the revenuers' investigation spread through Willow Creek, the pressure mounted. The townsfolk depended on the moonshine trade for their livelihoods, and Father Thomas felt a deep responsibility to protect them. Each day, he carefully balanced his dual roles, tending to Jack's recovery while brewing moonshine under the cover of darkness. The sound of bubbling mash filled the air, mixing with the aroma of corn and yeast, creating a comforting yet dangerous atmosphere. In the early hours of dawn, just as the sun began to rise, he would slip out to deliver jars of moonshine to trusted villagers, ensuring they received their share while keeping his own secret safe. Every creak of the floorboard sent waves of anxiety through him as he worried about the revenuers getting too close. With each passing moment, the stakes grew higher, and Father Thomas prayed that both he and Jack could navigate this treacherous path without drawing attention to themselves. The weight of secrecy pressed heavily on his shoulders, but he remained resolute in his mission to help those in need. With the threat of the revenuers looming ever closer, Father Thomas knew he had to act quickly. He sat at his workbench, deep in thought, as he nurtured Jack back to health. An idea began to take shape in his mind, a clever scheme to mislead the revenuers and protect both himself and the outlaw. Father Thomas planned to create a decoy operation. He would set up a false still in an abandoned barn on the outskirts of town, making it appear as if it were the main hub of their moonshine operations. By spreading rumors among the townsfolk about this new location, he hoped to draw Agent Collins and his team away from their true hideout. As he worked on the decoy, he enlisted some trusted villagers to help him carry out the plan. They would concoct batches of harmless liquid, just enough to fill jars and create a scent that resembled moonshine. Meanwhile, Father Thomas would continue brewing in secret at his hidden still, ensuring that Jack could recover without fear. Though uncertainty lingered in the air, this plan gave Father Thomas a glimmer of hope. As long as they stayed one step ahead of the revenuers, perhaps there was still a chance for both redemption and survival in Willow Creek. In their frantic search for the hidden still, the revenuers escalated their investigation by targeting homes around Willow Creek. The sound of bricks being laid against doors echoed through the town, creating an atmosphere of dread and uncertainty. As Agent Collins ordered his men to seal off suspected distillers' properties, panic rippled among the residents, who were terrified of losing their livelihoods. Families huddled together, whispering in hushed tones about the revenuers' actions. Some were brave enough to challenge the agents, while others quickly devised ways to disguise their own involvement. The pervasive fear of being discovered fueled rumors that spread like wildfire, making neighbors suspicious of one another. Each brick that fell into place felt like a tightening noose around the entire community. Back at the Friars' hidden still, Father Thomas kept a vigilant ear on the sounds outside. He felt the weight of the town's anxiety resting heavily on his shoulders. As news of sealed doors reached him, he knew time was running out for Jack and the moonshine operation. Desperate to protect both his friend and the village, Father Thomas busily worked on his decoy plan, hoping it would buy them all precious time before the revenuers closed in. As days passed, the tension in Willow Creek only grew. The villagers were increasingly aware of strange activities around their homes, unfamiliar faces loitering on street corners and the sound of heavy footsteps echoing in the quiet nights. Whispers filled the air as residents exchanged furtive glances, each trying to gauge who might be involved in the moonshine trade and who remained loyal to their community. Families met secretly at dusk, discussing the worrisome changes in their once safe town. "They're closing in on us," one elder remarked, his voice trembling with fear. "How long until they come for our doors?" The uncertainty gnawed at everyone. The thought of losing their homes, families, and livelihoods was too frightening to bear. Despite Father Thomas's efforts to mislead the revenuers with his decoy operation, villagers couldn't shake off their uneasiness. As children played outside, parents kept a watchful eye on them, fearing that their innocent laughter could soon attract unwanted attention. The night sky darkened with impending worry as everyone tried to prepare for whatever confrontation lay ahead. The fragile peace of Willow Creek was dangerously close to shattering, leaving each person hoping for a miracle amid rising dread. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, a spark of determination ignited within Jack. After days of rest and care from Father Thomas, he slowly regained his strength. The pain in his side still lingered, but the fire in his spirit was rekindled, and he was no longer just a wounded outlaw hiding in fear. Instead, he found a newfound sense of purpose and urgency. One evening, as they sat quietly in the still, Jack turned to Father Thomas with an idea. "I know the revenuers won't stop until they find me," he said, his voice steady. "But what if we used that to our advantage?" He proposed a daring escape plan that would not only protect himself but also divert the revenuers' attention away from the friar's hidden still. Jack envisioned a calculated distraction near the edge of town that could lure Agent Collins and his team away for long enough to allow Father Thomas and the villagers time to secure their moonshine operation. The plan held excitement and risk, but it breathed new hope into their desperate situation. Together, they began plotting how to outsmart the revenuers, ready to seize this twist of fate that had presented itself just when they needed it most. The day of the final showdown arrived, and tension hung thick in the air as Father Thomas and Jack prepared for their daring plan. Under the cover of darkness, they set their distraction into motion near the edge of town. Jack, despite his lingering pain, took a deep breath and stepped into the open, drawing the attention of Agent Collins and his team just as they had hoped. As the revenuers spotted him, Jack shouted defiantly, "You won't take me without a fight." This unexpected confrontation caught Collins off guard, leading him to rally his men toward the sound. Meanwhile, Father Thomas stayed hidden, ready to protect his community at all costs. The stakes were higher than ever as Jack faced off against the agents, buying precious time for Father Thomas to finalize securing their hidden still. The villagers watched anxiously from their homes, hearts racing as they feared for both men's safety. A flurry of shouts and footsteps echoed through the night as Father Thomas emerged with jars of moonshine in hand, his own way of fighting back. In that moment, it became clear, protecting each other was worth any risk they faced, and together, they would confront whatever came next. After the dust settled and the revenuers retreated, Father Thomas and Jack gathered in the still, both shaken yet relieved. Their narrow escape had forged a bond between them that was stronger than either could have anticipated. As they sat together, the reality of their choices began to sink in. "Father, I've lived a life driven by desperation," Jack admitted, his voice heavy with reflection. "But your kindness made me realize there's another way." Father Thomas nodded, feeling the weight of his own decisions. He had risked everything to help Jack, but in doing so, he had also protected his community and reaffirmed his commitment to compassion. They discussed what lay ahead, not just for themselves, but for Willow Creek. Jack spoke of wanting to change his path, determined to find redemption and make amends for his past mistakes. The friar saw potential in him and envisioned a future where they could work together for the good of the community. With resolve in their hearts, they decided to be open about their actions and rally the townsfolk toward a new beginning. This confrontation had not only changed their lives but had also ignited a sense of unity within the community, a chance to build a future rooted in trust and solidarity rather than fear. As the sun rose over Willow Creek, painting the sky in hues of gold and pink, Father Thomas and Jack stood together, looking out over the town they both cherished. The events of the past days had forged an unbreakable bond between them, rooted in friendship and mutual sacrifice. They had faced oppression hand in hand, defying the odds to protect their community and each other. With determination in their hearts, they gathered the villagers to share their story. Father Thomas spoke of compassion and redemption, emphasizing that everyone deserved a second chance. Jack shared his journey, revealing how kindness had sparked hope within him. The townsfolk listened intently, realizing that standing together was their greatest strength. The air was thick with renewed resolve as they discussed plans not just for their moonshine operation but for a united future. They envisioned a community where trust replaced fear, and friendships flourished despite the odds. With each passing day, Willow Creek would not only heal from its scars but thrive anew, embodying the spirit of resilience and unity. As they joined hands, a sense of hope filled the air. It was clear that together they would overcome any challenge that lay ahead.